Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the vast expanse of the galaxy, with a hum of interstellar travel blended with the whispers of ancient stars, Earth stood as a beacon of human achievement and ambition. Yet, for all its wonders, the human world had yet to embrace the soft, alien touch of the cosmos completely. It had been years since the first alien contact, leading to a gradual collaboration, the partnership of humans and the Nakari, a species both alluring and unfamiliar. Inside the sleek, glass towers of Galactic Enterprises, James sat hunched over his workstation, staring at a star map laden with intricate data points on alien settlers. Although it was a pioneering time, he felt like a cog in a machine that resonated with a rhythm he could hardly understand. Days bled into one another, each meeting with his colleagues marked by language barriers, cultural missteps, and the weight of their species' historical barriers. At that moment, he felt a familiar presence approach, Satara, his immediate superior. Her long, iridescent robes flowed around her like an aurora, shimmering with an elegance that was decidedly Nakari. As she neared, he felt an unfamiliar tug at his heart, a connection that defied reason. "James," Satara said, her voice smooth yet layered with an enigmatic cadence. "We need to discuss the team's progress on the integration project." James lifted his eyes, momentarily lost in the depth of her radiant amber irises. There was an unspoken bond, a curiosity that lay beyond their roles as human and alien. While she spoke, he couldn't help but wonder about the world she hailed from, the customs that governed her interactions, and the weight of her own desires. Her crisp, efficient words flew over him. He noted the warmth in her tone, the way her gestures communicated more than just her intent. Her fascination with human culture was apparent, as she often attempted humor, though not always landing it successfully, creating moments that were both amusing and endearing. "What do you think?" she asked, pulling him back from his thoughts. "Sorry, I missed that last part," James replied sheepishly. Satara's expression shifted subtly, a flicker of disappointment passing over her features. "I was saying that we need to strengthen the collaboration between our teams. There's a cultural disconnect that we must address." James nodded, but the weight of her presence had him distracted. He had always known of their differences, yet every interaction with her chipped away at the barriers he had once considered impenetrable. The uncharted territory of emotions began to creep into his thoughts, like the way the cosmos swallowed stars. Days turned to weeks, and he found himself longing for more than just professional interaction. The project had its trials, but through each challenge, the connection with Satara deepened, fraught with layers of unrecognized emotions. The impending team-building retreat loomed on the calendar, aimed at fostering integration. As his mind wandered, he hoped that this event would finally bridge the gap, not just among colleagues, but between himself and the captivating alien manager who had come to inhabit his thoughts. Tonight, he would prepare himself, for in her company, he often found that he wasn't just hungry for companionship. He was hungry for understanding, for connection that transcended their earthly constructs. Little did he know, that evening would soon give rise to questions that would haunt his dreams and shape his destiny. The team-building retreat was held at a picturesque location, far removed from the sterile walls of Galactic Enterprises. Nestled on a remote moon orbiting a vibrant gas giant, the natural beauty of the surrounds was striking, a sanctuary where distant stars twinkled above like diamonds scattered across velvet. As James stepped off the shimmering transport shuttle, he felt a rush of excitement and apprehension. He scanned the gathering crowd of humans and Nakari as they mingled, their conversations a blend of laughter, curiosity, and cautious glances. A part of him felt reassured by the familiar presence of his colleagues, but another part yearned for the enigmatic Satara, whose mere proximity ignited something within him. Amidst the activity, he spotted her, the soft curves of her silhouette marking her as a beacon among the crowd. Her long robe swayed gently in the moonlight, the fabric glimmering as if it carried all the wisdom of her kind. She spoke animatedly with a group of Nakari, her gestures fluid and expressive, punctuated by the soft luminescence that accompanied her emotions. "Hey, James," a cheerful voice called out, breaking his reverie. It was Nora, a bubbly human co-worker, who had become a friend despite the intimidating environment. "We're about to start the first activity. You coming?" James hesitated, his gaze drifting back to Satara, who had noticed him and offered a small, genuine smile. "Yes, I'll be right there," he replied, moving toward the gathering where Nora was leading him. The first activity involved overcoming challenges with partners of the opposite species, a perfect opportunity to dismantle barriers. As fate would have it, James was paired with Satara, and a rush of nervous energy coursed through him. Her presence brought a surge of uncharted anticipation mixed with trepidation. "Ready?" she asked as they approached a series of teamwork challenges set up in the picturesque landscape, obstacles that required cooperation and understanding far beyond language. "Let's do this," he said, suppressing his nerves. As they engaged in a series of physical and mental tasks, moments of camaraderie bloomed between them. They navigated mazes made from living vines that seemed to respond to their presence, and lifted each other over barriers designed to mimic the challenges faced by those of different cultures. Each success felt monumental. Each failure was accompanied by shared laughter that rang through the air. "Satara, you've got a knack for this," James exclaimed as she adeptly maneuvered through a particularly tricky task, laughing as she offered him encouragement. "And you're not too bad yourself, James," she replied, her tone light, but her gaze lingering, as if dissecting the hidden layers beneath his bravado. After the physical challenges had concluded, the group settled around a fire pit under the blanket of stars. A Nakari custom allowed for storytelling, a way to forge the bond of understanding through shared experiences. James felt a warmth spreading in his chest as he realized this was another opportunity for connection. As various stories were shared, crossing cultural boundaries, James took a moment to observe Satara. Her laughter at the antics of her fellow Nakari was genuine, her eyes sparkling with life. Yet there were moments when her gaze drifted, as if contemplating something deeper. When it was their turn to share, Satara looked at James expectantly, inviting him to go first. He hesitated, feeling the weight of their differences, while grappling with the desire to reach into the vulnerabilities they both shared. "I'll share something personal," he began. "I often feel like an outsider in many situations. Sometimes, even among my own people. I guess I've always yearned for something beyond the mundane, something to feel connected. I even wonder how this universe looks from the perspective of someone who sees it completely differently." Satara's expression softened, and she nodded appreciatively, her gaze intense. "My people express love and connection in ways the human emotions may not comprehend," she offered, her voice steady yet tinged with a hint of vulnerability. "We are attuned to energies, and there is an unyielding hunger within us too, a longing for connection beyond the physical. It's challenging to communicate these needs." Before she could finish, a sudden burst of laughter interrupted, pulling attention back to the group. James felt the moment slip away, yet the weight of her words resonated, igniting a flicker of realization, a shared craving that transcended the barriers of their species. As the warm light flickered around them, James couldn't help but wish for a day when misunderstandings would be replaced with understanding, when the hunger for connection would allow the two of them to explore their bond on a much deeper level. Later that night, as the stars swirled above them, James found himself stealing glances at Satara, each one igniting the ember of desire within him. There was no denying it. He wanted to feed that hunger that lingered between them. As the retreat unfolded, it became increasingly clear that this was not merely a team-building exercise. It was the crucible in which unspoken emotions would ignite. The camaraderie fostered during sung stories and shared laughter had built a bridge between the humans and Nakari. But the most pivotal moment awaited as evening transitioned into night. The next morning brought on a series of challenges that were to test more than just their teamwork. They were meant to stir the deeper urges buried beneath their skin. James and Satara again found themselves paired, the anticipation of their connection weaving an unvoiced tension in the air as they stood before the organizers of the day's event. Today, participants will engage in a connection exercise designed to foster intimacy. One of the Nakari spoke, their voice resonating with authority. "You will experience each other's perspectives, literally." James exchanged a curious glance with Satara, whose brow furrowed for a moment before she nodded, signaling her understanding. The exercise began with a series of close contact tasks meant to emphasize understanding through corporeal connection. Each duo was to communicate their thoughts and emotions through touch, allowing the experience to bypass language. The first task involved answering questions about their motivations while holding hands, feeling the warmth and texture of each other's skin. As they linked fingers, James felt a rush of energy spark between them. He focused on her gaze, how her heart beat beneath silken skin, echoing a rhythm that almost matched his own. "What do you really crave?" Satara asked, her voice low and almost mesmerizing as she took a step closer, their bodies intuitively aligning. James inhaled sharply, the proximity amplifying his awareness of her. "Connection, understanding," he confessed, feeling vulnerable yet emboldened by their shared experience. "Are you certain it's not more than that?" she questioned, tilting her head. The air between them felt charged with something potent, the electric current of desire, of need. But before he could respond, the organizers signaled a change in tasks, instructing pairs to close their eyes and focus on their heightened senses. Feel the other's emotions. What do they desire? With their eyes closed, the world around them faded. It was just James and Satara, now painfully aware of their breathing and the thrumming heartbeat of the other. Time melted away as they began to sway gently, the connection solidified by shared energy. James felt a warmth pulse through him, a longing that was not just lingering, but demanding. He envisioned Satara's longing, reflecting his own in equal intensity. The realization that what lay between them was deeper than commitment. It was a craving birthed from centuries of separation, yearning to be recognized. "James," she whispered, and her voice conjured visions of moons and stars dancing in the cosmos. "I can feel your desires." In that moment, the world opened, a glimpse of intimacy that extended beyond physical boundaries. The fire between them crackled, and instinctively, he drew closer, pressing his forehead against hers, sharing breaths punctuated by electric anticipation. "Satara, I." But the moment broke as the organizers redirected their attention, shifting them to a physical challenge that involved climbing a cliffside wall, forcing them apart. James felt the pull of her presence fade, but not extinguish. As they faced the next task side by side, he couldn't help but crave the warmth of her touch, the electric potential of what they'd nearly shared. Similar challenges kept pushing them closer physically, heaving boulders, balancing together, and building structures meant to symbolically represent their unified efforts. But with every push and pull, the distance between their souls became less bearable. What hovered beneath the surface wasn't just a physical attraction. It simmered with emotional depth and the hunger for understanding, for acceptance. By the time the physical challenges concluded, an energy crackled in the air, an unarticulated promise suffused with hope and yearning. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, they gathered around a fire once more, the mood shifting to one laden with unspoken words and unfulfilled desires. As humans and Nakari shared their stories, James realized that they were not just together in a corporate venture. Their connection was an audacious step into the unknown realm of emotions. He cast a glance at Satara, who stood at the fringe, her features illuminated by the soft glow. As their eyes met, time seemed to slow. The world outside their shared gaze faded away, sealing their fate in the intensity of a single moment. "James," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper but carrying the weight of the universe, "I feel your hunger." His heart raced at the revelation, his own need surfacing more fiercely than ever. "What happens when hunger goes unquenched?" he inquired, the starlit sky pressing down with anticipation. The response lingered in the air between them, an invitation dressed in vulnerability and longing. They stood on the precipice of an uncharted path, one that could lead them to a profound connection, or shatter them against the walls of their contrasting worlds. The night deepened, wrapping the gathering in a shroud of intimacy. Flickering flames danced in time with the hearts of those present, their warmth echoing the burgeoning connection between James and Satara. Each shared pulse threaded another knot between their souls, one that promised to unravel the loneliness binding them to their respective worlds. As the stories around the fire dwindled into comfortable silence, an almost palpable tension knitted itself tighter among the group. James and Satara shared sidelong glances, each passing moment layered with unspoken invitation, yearning, and curiosity. "Let's take a walk," Satara suggested softly, her voice just above the rustling wind. Unsure of where they'd end up, but acutely aware of the desire simmering in his chest, James nodded, his heart quickening with a mix of excitement and apprehension. They ventured away from the gathering toward a secluded glade where the pale glow of bioluminescent flowers illuminated their path. The ethereal light reminded James of her shimmering robes, a reflection of her otherworldly beauty. As they strolled through the foliage, their shoulders brushed, each contact surging with an electric thrill that coursed through his veins. Finally, unable to restrain himself further, James reached for her hand, their fingers entwining naturally, as if they were two pieces of a cosmic puzzle coming together. "Let's share more," he urged, wanting to bridge the gap between their cultures, emotions, and souls. "Tell me about your world, Satara. What is it like?" Her eyes sparkled with luminous engagement, the flickering light capturing the depth of her thoughts. "The Nakari live in harmony with nature. We are attuned to the energies around us. Love and connection are felt through our very essence, often expressed through touch," she explained. A warm thrill ran through him, and his heartbeat quickened. "How do you know when you found someone?" he asked, intrigued by her culture's unique perception of connection. "It's an instinct," she replied, meeting his gaze as the depth of her voice wove tenderness into the air. "We feel a resonance, an echo of our own desires mirrored in another. It's both a burden and a gift. It can be overwhelming. We crave connection, yet knowing the depth of our feelings can be intimidating." James nodded, touched by her vulnerability. "I feel that too. It's like something vital is drawing me to you, a hunger that goes beyond physical attraction. It's like I'm reaching for the parts of myself I didn't know existed." Satara stepped closer, her breath warm against his skin. "My hunger is not for food, James. It's for understanding, for acceptance," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Feeling a daring pull, James leaned in, drawn to the warmth emanating from her. "Can we feed that hunger?" he asked, the question lingering in the air. In an instant, the world around them quieted. The night was theirs, the moon their witness, as he felt the urge to close the distance, the space that mandated unspoken boundaries between humanity and Nakari dissolving. "Would you allow me to show you my ways?" she asked, with an intensity that electrified the atmosphere. The invitation hinted toward the deeper connections they shared, mental, emotional, and physical. James felt the weight of her gaze, the intensity of their bond transcending mere curiosity. It was a deep-rooted desire to explore one another far beyond the realm of words. He nodded, swallowing the knot in his throat that spoke of both fear and exhilaration. As they moved deeper into the glade, Satara guided him to a secluded spot blanketed in luminescent flowers. The soft light bathed them as if they were cocooned in a halo, enhancing the gravity of the moment. "Here, we can truly connect," she said, her voice smoothing as she beckoned him closer. The air shimmered with possibilities, the space between them hauntingly electric. As they settled beneath the heavens, she began to teach him the customs of her people, a ritual that involved sharing not just words or intentions, but energy through physical touch. They sat facing each other, knees touching, hands enchanted with tenderness intertwined. Satara's fingers brushed against James's arm, leaving a trail of warmth. "I will need you to trust me," she said, her voice a soothing melody echoing in the recesses of his consciousness. James nodded, entranced by her presence, feeling a sense of calm wash over him. Together they began to navigate the intimate dance, allowing fear and hesitance to be replaced with a profound understanding, a deeper familiarity born from their vulnerability. As the ritual progressed, he felt her energy weave itself through the gaps in his heart, a flowing connection that bridged the gap between their species. Their breaths synchronized, and he marveled at the ease with which he lost himself in her, each touch igniting a fire in his spirit as her essence flooded his senses. Moments stretched, the world around them dissolving into a delicate web of colors and sensations. He delved deeper into the realm of emotion, where hunger for connection throbbed vibrantly, echoing in the space between them. They shared not just warmth, but the very core of their souls, an exploration that unveiled desires previously hidden. "James," she breathed, her voice rich with emotion. "In these shared moments, we are becoming more than just ourselves. We are becoming one." Those words rattled through him, awakening something primal, a desire unconfined by time or species. He looked deep into her eyes, sensing the profound truth that lay within their shared connection. At that instant, the universe aligned. All time stood still. Each pulse echoed the powerful understanding that passion and hunger could exist in harmony beyond their pasts and the societal barriers that had long separated them. And in that understanding, they grasped the essence of full connection, love and longing, fleshed out against the backdrop of their intertwined destinies. The moon hung high in the sky, bearing witness to the shift in James and Sitara's relationship as they left the warm glow of the fire behind. Nature surrounded them, echoing with soft nocturnal sounds while whispers of their growing connection lingered in the air. As they broke away from the others, the distance from the group made their intimacy feel increasingly profound. Sitara led James deeper into the glade, where the intricate patterns of bioluminescent flowers pulsed softly with light, creating an enchanting atmosphere conducive to vulnerability. "James," she said, her tone low and laden with meaning, "there is something I must show you." His heart raced at her words. He knew the time had come for their connection to deepen to something more than just the sharing of thoughts and energies. They had danced around the truth of their desires, but now the hunger that had simmered beneath the surface demanded to be acknowledged. "The Nakari have a tradition," Sitara explained, stepping closer, her breath mingling with the chilled night air. "When two souls resonate deeply, they may enter a union. We call it mating, a sacred joining of our essences." James felt a jolt of electricity race through him at her confession. The meaning behind the word washed over him, amplifying the urgency of what lay ahead. "Sitara, are you saying that you want to?" he started, unsure if he dared to voice the longing that mirrored her own. "Yes," she whispered, her eyes reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. "But it is not just a physical joining. It's a melding of hearts, of energies. I want us to consummate this bond, to mate." The clarity of her intentions sparked something within him, igniting feelings he had never fully explored before. He felt a potent mixture of excitement and trepidation rise within him. "Then we will do so," he affirmed, his voice firm. "I want to share that with you." With a shared understanding, they stepped into a sacred circle known to both of their cultures as a place of bond and intimacy. As they embraced one another, the world around them fell away. The gentle whispers of the wind faded into the background, a testament to the magic of the moment. James and Sitara moved together as if choreographed by the universe itself. The energy that coursed between their bodies illuminated the air, creating a kaleidoscope of colors as they explored one another, igniting that hunger they both felt. In the intimacy of their mating, their essences intertwined, pulsing with a rhythm uniquely their own. James felt a profound connection, a resonance of souls merging, a deepening understanding that transcended the confines of their biological differences. As they surrendered to the experience, he felt waves of emotions that danced through each heartbeat, weaving a tapestry of their separate lives into a singular existence. Nothing mattered beyond that moment. No human nor Nakari customs could define the depth of what they were creating together. When the mingled energies finally reached a crescendo, their bodies entwined against the backdrop of a starlit sky, James understood that this was more than an act. It was the culmination of their desires, a deep communion of two worlds blending into one. In the aftermath of their intimate union, James and Sitara lay beneath the stars, basking in the glow of what they had just shared. They exchanged words of love and commitment, recognizing that their bond transcended the boundaries of their species. The mutual understanding they forged allowed them to cherish their differences. As they returned to the retreat, they faced the complexities of their worlds, but stood united, determined to advocate for their relationship despite external challenges. With newfound confidence, they resolved to bring their love story to light, paving the way for a future that embraced both humanity and the Nakari culture. They envisioned integrating their traditions and paving paths that would foster collaboration and understanding among their people, beginning with their own worlds as proof of what was possible. As they moved forward, James and Satara emerged as ambassadors for a new era of connection, illustrating how love and understanding could bridge even the greatest divides. Their mating was not merely a physical act. It had become a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of unity, acceptance, and the hunger that lay not just for connection, but for a shared future. Through their journey, they learned that true intimacy lies in vulnerability, understanding, and a willingness to embrace one another, embodying the spirit of two very different worlds coming together as one.